Yep, stay with it. Every inch. Every inch. That was like. Okay, I saw that.
Fill it in, T-line. Guard is okay too. Line's good. Yep, as far as you can go. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Don't curl a little bit.
All right, that's fine.
Roll on the weight though.
Really good. Hey.
Fighter's fine. Fighter's fine. Control. Line's good. Go, 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 hard, hard, hard. Up, 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 up. Hard, hard, get all the way. Go, Pam. Squeeze all the way. Come on. Yep, yep.
Nice shot.
Let's not go.
Great.
Control. Yep.
Still slow.
All the way, yes.
Yes, line. Yes, line.
All the way. All the way, as far as you can get it. As far as you can get it. Come on. Push. Yeah, I think so. Yep, hard. Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Let's hit. If we can roll, that's great. Let's try to stick around. Control.
Come around, Kelly. Put up here is fine. Still slow out here.
Here and around. Let's come around. We're just going to be the even frostier part here. This is where that is. That's our, that was the drop path on the last one, so we got to be farther out.
Line's good.
Yeah, hard, hard, hard. That's fine. It was a little wide anyway. It's in cross.
Hard, hard, hard. You got it. You got it. Yep. Yep. All the way.
I don't think it's through. No, it's fine. Now push. Yeah, now push.
Come under this guard. Pretty good.
Yeah, nice shot, Tom. Really frosty out there. I think you're right on that time later.
Freeze on it. If you bump it, it's fine. So T-line to back four. Four. Lots of room. Lots of room. Okay, we're good. Lots of room. Oh, yes, yes, come on, hard. Hard, lots of room, lots of room, lots of room. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Push it, push it. Really nice. Yes, 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 Great. yes, 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 yes.
Right to it.
All right, we're back. The 6:15 draw. Second to last draw this evening.
Yeah. Let's just draw. Like back A, would be pretty nice.
I suppose we should say who's here. Michael Lee.
Oh, yes, and Brian
Commentating.
Sewell with you for as long as I can stand it.
I guess we don't know how many people are watching at the moment, but we assume that you're hearing us, whoever you are out there, and thanks for watching.
Feel free to leave a shout out in the comments section. Smash that like button.
All right, what do we see?
Oh, we've got a lot of action starting in the first in here. Usually lots and lots of guards in the first in.
Pretty swingy, is that
The
not?
only exception being
I want to hit on this side.
Sheet C right now.
She's pretty clean.
Okay, we'll try like that. It's in the front though.
It's not uncommon as people trying to find the weight. If it's a little slower than they thought, then they wind up with guards and more
Oh,
guards. It looks like on A, they just snuck past a guard
Very nice.
and got the buried stone, or nearly buried stone out.
Whoa. No, we should be good. We should be good. Okay, good. You weren't thinking it though.
Show around. Fighting forward would be great.
Yellow, sheet B. It's a little heavy all the way around everything, and still in a nice spot.
Sped up. It's not slow anymore.
Right, so yellow's got hammer on B. They're sitting 1, it looks like.
White Stone's starting to throw.
It's hard to get rid of that one.
Yeah, Jeff's, I think, calling for a freeze.
On the broom.
Right, so the freeze is a shot that's great if you make it, but if you're heavy or light or off on your line, then it doesn't really help you. I think that's a sheet that's streaming.
Yeah, sweeping hard for line right now.
They get around that guard,
Turning.
and they
quick.
just can't quite. But they do open it up.
Weight was about right.
T1, back four is okay.
Over on sheet D, there's what was an attempt for a promote. Worked out really well. Got all the way to the button. Hidden behind a plethora of guards there.
Flying
Nope.
V, an inverted flying V here.
Not a great draw path remaining, although with the amount of curl we've had,
Mine's good. Make sure it's T.
it's still
I want T-liner back.
possible.
My broom.
Really good execution on that one.
Mine's good.
So this is also where on D, maybe you're thinking about, maybe can't steal one here, but hold them to just 1.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Really nice. Great shot, Kate.
Meanwhile on B, yellow's curled another one. And it looks like they're sitting 2.
Want to get this one here. We get this one here.
Okay, on D, that draw has gotten around the guard, coming toward the rings,
Wow.
So I want to hit this right here.
but won't get into a scoring situation.
Normal.
Blocks some of the draw path.
It's like bouncing around back over to sheet B here. Jeff's calling a hit. Try to in off that yellow that's frozen, see if he can get it to green over to the other yellow.
A real flat double.
Hard, Joe. Hard, Joe. Hard,
Starting
Joe.
to fall on that center line.
Come on, Joe. Hard. Come on, Joe.
Looking really good.
It is looking good.
Yep.
Very nice shot.
Really nice.
And exactly what he called.
Yeah.
Leaving them on the button, just not undercover, but in a good spot.
Looks like yellow's sitting 2nd shot. Probably not 3rd.
Yeah.
Hard to tell for us.
Okay, go.
Yeah. From this other screen, we can see it looks like red is 3rd shot.
Chris closer. Yes.
Red is 1st and 3rd, yellow is 2nd and 4th, but yellow has the next shot.
All the way in. Whoa.
Let's zoom in on B for a bit here.
Okay, good. Good sweep, y'all.
Sweeping hard for line.
Hard for line.
Makes it hard for us to see what's happening.
Yeah. Oh, Katie's shot just barely wicks the guard, and still going to end up in the house, but not threatening shot rock.
I'm going to go back to the mega cast in case anybody's looking at a different sheet. George throwing on sheet A. And it's sort of a theme here where they're trying to sweep hard to keep something from crashing, and they just tick a guard.
All these busy guard zones are yielding some pretty difficult draw shots and hits.
But B is standing out as a little bit different. They've got this real opening in front of the shot rock on the button. Whereas the other sheets, there's a lot of action in the center up high.
Katie Katie had a good miss on that last one, clearing that center out a little bit. And I think looks like what they're going to try to do is just put a guard back there.
And on sheet D, there was a yellow rock on the outside 12 that looked fairly guarded, but with the swingy ice, the guard's very high. It looks like Brian was able to come around that and take it out and stick. So that was a pretty nice shot, limiting the damage. Yellow sitting 2 at the time, now sitting just 1.
All right, come on.
We haven't said much about sheet C. It looks like they got a biter at the top. Yeah, I think so. So they're sitting 3. Red is. Red has hammer. So when you're the team that doesn't have hammer and the hammer team is sitting 3, you're starting to get pretty nervous. So Chris Berry's got to come up with something to disrupt this, unless he is red. Well, he is red, so he doesn't want to disrupt it at all. What's he going to do? Probably put one up in the top of the 12-foot there, just to make it tricky for the yellow team to squeeze in under. But you can't block everything.
Yep.
Just wants to put it there on the 12-foot in the dark circle.
And he's hammer as well, so really good spot for them.
Yep, very nice spot. But there will be a chance for yellow to draw under something, unless they don't out of rocks. No, yellow has run off left. Meanwhile, back to sheet B. B as in boy. That open situation continues. Red is sitting 2 rocks now, clustered there, and yellow looks like they're going to come at it pretty hard, try to get rid of both of them, preferably, from their point of view. Let's see what happens.
Big shot looks.
Calling the
tight to that
sweepers
center
on.
line.
No, that's a different sheet.
How deep are we?
Definitely sweeping for line.
Okay, it does get by. Moves 2.
Wow.
But probably red's just sitting the 1.
Yeah.
It was a very good effort.
Come after this.
Definitely the only thing you can call there in that situation. Yeah. It's a pile of red, and the way to get to him, you got to come after it.
That he's going to have to hit for 1. This is third, right?
If you're outside, you pop this.
Don't be outside.
Like this.
Yeah.
So on sheet A, is this hammer here? I believe so. Christine Allen with the red rocks is throwing hammer. Sitting 2 already, trying to add to their lead with a draw on the outside path here. Just need to touch full 8, the white ring, to get score 3, which would be an excellent opening. You'd always love to open with scoring 3.
Very much so. Looks really light down that side. Don't think they threw a ton of rocks down that path. So.
Looks like it's checking up. So still 2 for red.
Yep.
Would be considered part of the hammer proficiency, scoring 2 with hammer. So a good start from red there, but not as bad as it could have been from the yellow perspective. Looks like we've got hammer coming up on sheet C as well, and D.
Yeah, it looks like did not see the last yellow rock that was thrown on sheet C, but there is a wide open house already sitting 2, it looks like.
Similar situation to sheet A, where red has hammer and wants to get sitting in good shape and wants to get more.
Really nice shot on sheet B.
Yeah, they just continue to pile them in there. I can't tell if yellow is second shot or if red is second. Hard to say.
Yeah. Yellow with last rock here has got a really interesting set of options. You could just sneak it in there for 1.
And this is also a situation where, for those who don't know about the situation here, you may not know whether you're sitting 1 or 2 or 3, or whether your other team is sitting 1 or 2 or 3, and you've got to eyeball it. And you think, well, we're okay, we're just going to give up 1, and then you measure, and now you give up 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So there's no measurement that's permitted in the middle of the game, with a few exceptions for whether something's in the free guard zone. And so if you're not sure, then you have to take that into account. Looks like they're going to come in and bump their own yellow, maybe?
Yeah, ice Greg's taking right now looks like hack board-ish.
Yep. So he just wants to come and bump the yellow so that yellow that's already sitting at the top of the red ring, the forefoot, would come back and be shot. I think that's the idea.
Stone away.
Calling the sweep on. Worried about it over curling.
All the way for line.
I think it's looking pretty good for yellow. It's
Yeah.
starting to maybe flatten out.
Really great shot.
Yeah.
Sitting on the pin. Very nice.
I had a hard time. I could not see whether yellow scored or not.
I think they, so his run
think
back
so.
onto the pin. We've got people here in the warm room trying to congratulate Greg on a great shot there.
And since yellow's throwing first, indeed, yes, they have they scored with that one. What a good shot, yeah. A nervous situation, a lot of red rocks around.
Yeah.
And yellow was never in a position where it looked like they were going to score easily, so they did it the hard way.
All right, we're in the second end on all sheets now. It's playing at a very good pace. Just flashed a hit on sheet A. Trying to figure out that ice. A lot of draws down that side on the last end.
So we should probably tell people who haven't watched yet that the rocks have been scratched just before the tournament. And so they're curling more than people are used to them curling.
Very much so, yeah.
So the hits are a little more challenging because you don't know exactly how far away to hold the broom from the rock, how much will it curl. It's more tending to over curl in those situations.
Yeah.
But then the draw and the guards are tricky too because the guards, the rocks up above the house, you want them to stop at the left and right line. And when they keep curling, sometimes they just keep sailing left to right or right to left, and they're not in the right spot.
Oh, yeah.
And the draws are tricky too. So no shot is easy at the moment.
Yeah. It seemed to be a really good equalizer this week. It's just the combination of the shape the ice is in. It's tremendous shape. Hats off to the ice crew all week long. And then, yeah, the rocks, it's just been it's been a totally different game.
Yeah.
And we've had a lot of really close games because of it. Personal anecdote, 3 days ago, Thursday, 2 days ago?
2 days ago.
2 days ago, math. I think a lot of my lead rocks were curling around 9 feet. I'm not sure if that was because of my handle or what, but we were aiming edge of 12 and ending up edge of 4 on the other side of the sheet. It was very, very intense amount of curl and kind of a fun way to play, honestly.
Normally you'd be looking at like more 4 feet, so
Yeah,
more than
4.5,
twice as much.
yeah.
And that changed the game a lot.
Very much so, and I think for the better. It's kind of fun. That's why we call it curling.
Ooh, we had a flash on sheet C here. The hit on the red didn't quite curl as much as they thought, which you won't hear us say
No.
that too often, I don't think, tonight.
Yeah.
But it missed the rock maybe because it didn't curl as much as they thought, or maybe the shot didn't quite hit the broom, the right angle that was requested. But that's an indication that it's hard to make those hits work.
Yeah.
You've seen 2 flashes just in the last couple minutes.
Actually, forward. Board.
Here it comes. Here it comes. Lead. Good.
Got to turn.
Nice little promote
Okay, Norman.
over on sheet D. Got 2 yellows frozen to each other at the top of the house. Ryan's going to elect to just try to throw heavy weight at it and get him out of there.
On sheet B, just yet another flash. Just missed a little bit.
And that rock is probably half of it is covered, so it's definitely there for the taking. Just going to take some time to get used to it.
Sheet A is a nice looking draw, maybe a little heavy. It gets around the guard, and then will it hit the brakes in time? Starting to squeak out the back.
Nope.
Okay, it looks like it's full 12 in the back, so it's the shot rock on sheet A. But in those situations where somebody's just thrown a rock and it's behind T, the other team can elect to just do the exact same thing. So it looks like that's what Christine Allen's opting to do here.
Nope.
And we'll see where the rock goes on sheet A.
Yeah, and that red with without hammer here. Friesen sitting to that rock, kind of takes that last shot out of play for the time being. Looks like they're worried about being up here on the guard. Plan B. I think I heard her scream.
Instead of going around the red, they're trying to promote the red end.
All right, so that one will sit over on the edge. Still that yellow shot rock, but those biters will come in handy. Whether or not you use them to roll in, looks like George is going to try to draw in here.
Joe! No, up. Pam. Come on, just get one.
Okay, on sheet B, we've got takeout worked, but the 2 clustered rocks means only one of the yellows goes away. And since they're partially behind cover, it's hard to keep your shooter because you can't get to the nose of the rock, the middle of the rock. It hits the side and both rocks go sideways and out of play. So George's rock looks like, or George's team's rock that is, over curled a little bit, and they also played a promote instead of the draw. So that's the more expected commentary that we would be delivering. It over curled. Back on sheet B, 1 yellow rock was removed, and they're attempting to put another one back roughly where it was, and it looks like they're going to be pretty close.
Nice shot. Just a little separation of the rocks here. Still buried over there if it doesn't roll too far. And there you go. Looks like Jeff's going to try to follow that in, sit in that pocket there. Use it as backing.
Push. Just tee.
So when the ice is fast, you don't mind having a rock or 2 behind the tee that you can use to hit the brakes if it's going a little too fast, like is happening on sheet C, where there is no backing.
No.
And so that draw just goes a little through. So Jeff wants to use that to his advantage. I think ideally what he wants to do is sit here without removing the yellow, but it's coming down pretty quick, so we need something to help him hit the brakes here. And
very fast.
he uses it.
There we go.
Will that go out of play? Yes, it goes out of play. So were it not to go out of play, then it becomes hard to remove the red. So we call that a half-made shot, right?
Yeah.
So you are ideally wanting to just kind of sit on it, but instead of sitting on it, you got rid of it. So there's something good came out of it, but it's going to be on sheet B a repeat of what was asked for from the previous team. Just take that one out. And sit in its place, well, roughly in its place, just slightly higher. So as it gets higher and higher with successive hits, it becomes a little trickier to get to because you've got to get around those guards and get to it, and then you're getting a little better. Each shot is getting closer and closer to that pin, which this one would have sat on the pin if it had curled a little more, but it's going to roll sideways. But still, yellow's pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
They're sitting 2. Yellow had hammer in the first end. They do not have it now, but they're happy to get rid of the red. And now red's going to, on sheet B, red's just going to try to draw behind that guard to the outside.
Goes away. Looks like it's curling a lot. Really quickly here.
It looked like the skip was saying the shot was wider than what he wanted. Thrower's asking the sweep. They get past the guard.
Wow.
Really nice. All the way to the yellow rock.
Great shot.
And sitting in that shot position, the closest rock to the pin. So that's, phenomenal.
Like Greg's calling a same shot for Katie here.
We're getting a lot of that on this sheet where
Yeah.
it's like, okay, you did a good shot. I'm going to try to do the exact same thing. Oh, this is even harder, though, because I guess it is behind T. But I guess if they put it right on the corner of the red rock, that would be great, too. You don't need to be right in front of it.
Yeah.
But ideally, they want to be the shot rock.
Yeah, hers looks like it was curling the exact same place Pam's was.
And can they get it by? It's going to be close.
And
he wants more curl,
Really?
so it's by. But then will it hit the brakes? No.
not.
And it just rolls a little too far. So that was a little bit of the case of if that red rock was where the yellow one is, it might have gotten to it there.
Yeah.
But just because the red rock got there first, it's a little higher in the house, it's harder to get to. And it's a nice advantage for each team if one person has just thrown a shot that's good and that same person is throwing the next rock, they know the feel of that line they just threw and they can throw it again usually more easily than the next person. So Jeff's asking, I think, pretty much for the same thing, although I think a little lighter. It's a little bit higher in the house.
Still hopefully under cover of those two guards. Miles away.
Started to curl maybe a little sooner.
Yeah, hard for line right now. Plan B, Jeff yells. He was trying to see if he could get them to move the rocks farther over to hit their red guard instead of the yellow, but it's not a terrible result. They did not push the yellow into the rings, and that is no longer a real option for a promote for yellow either.
I don't think so. I mean, maybe you could hit the outside red and then bump it up, but it's very difficult in any case. They didn't think about that for a moment, so they agree with us.
Yep.
And they're just going to try that same shot. It's sort of a race to who can make the best shot that'll pop in there, top of the forefoot, that nobody else can outcount. Quick check-in on the other sheets. We've got, looks like yellow sitting 2 or 3 on sheet A, and red playing a takeout on them. They're able to remove 1 rock. It jams at the back. So now it looks like yellow is sitting 2 on A after red scored 2 in the first end. Back to sheet B. Yellow's trying to curl in.
That's a lot of weight on that one.
It's a little bit too heavy. But yellow is still, or red is sitting 1. And there's a lot of yellow around, but I don't think red's too worried about losing that rock. It's pretty immobile. On sheet C, we have red sitting 3 after having scored 2 in the first, and red is throwing. Yellow has the hammer. Looks like there's at least two rocks to go for yellow. So red seems to be putting a guard up here.
Just want to guard that promote.
The vice is trying to hold the broom where he wants the rock. He or she, I'm not. He, yes. And it's going to over curl a little bit. Have we said that yet today?
Oh, yeah. That is a theme.
So instead of being right in front of the yellow rock, it looks like it's off to the side a bit. And it might be possible for yellow to use that and run it back, but I don't think they're going to do that. It looks like they're going to put the broom on the outside, indicating they're just going to try to draw into the forefoot or the button area. And then on sheet D, looks like yellow's sitting 2 after having taken 1 in the first. And again on B, we've got a little bit of an overcurl. But the red rock is sitting in a pretty decent place to block the path.
That
At least
draw path they've been
block
throwing is pretty much gone now.
Right, so getting over to those other rocks on the left side of the house is hard.
But Greg's going to take about, looks like 2 feet more ice than the last draw. Try to get around it, or he's toying with the idea of going through that port. I think the port shot gives him a good opportunity to kind of bump that red out of where his 2 yellows on that same side are kind of just lingering.
So 2 weeks ago, we would not be having this conversation, though. That's overburied.
Yeah.
And there's no way you're going to
take what you can get. Yeah.
Do that and move it. But they don't have to move it very far in order to be sitting 2, because their shot rock would be 1. And then the rock that the red's on would be 2 if they can move it just at the exact right angle, which is a lot easier said than done.
And it does look like he's taking the ice to go through that port.
Well, this will be interesting.
So his last draw he threw was, enough to probably be hackish, I guess, right now. Let's see what this one ends up looking like. Needs to curl a lot, and there it goes. Wow, it is just moving.
Calling on hard. Will it get by? He's calling him off.
Yeah, I think it it started to turn, and then it, oh my goodness, it didn't curl enough.
Right. So with higher weight, the heavier shot, it's going to just take it longer to spin over from one side to the other. So red now is probably going to try to come in behind their center guard. Or is this hammer? This is hammer.
I think this is hammer, yeah.
This is hammer. So it just needs to, if he touches red, he's fine.
So no
If
harm
he gets
done.
close
from
to
last
touching
shot.
red, he's also fine.
Yeah.
Back to sheet C. Red is sitting the 3, and they're throwing in a guard here. We want it up at just above the rings. Looks like it's going to come into the rings a smidge. And they're changing their mind a little bit. See if they can get another counter out of it, maybe? Not quite. And a check-in on sheet C. It's like yellow's sitting 1 behind a fleet of guards. And yellow scored 1 in the first. So it looks like red has, is this hammer? I only see one lonely red down there. And no yellow. So I think this is hammer. And it looks like, well, you can on the screen you can't even see the person holding the broom. She's halfway on the camera and halfway not. And so Brian's task here is to try to get full 8 to score 1. That's tricky because he's pretty far outside of where most of the rocks presumably have been thrown. We haven't been paying a lot of attention to sheet D, so we don't know if they've been this far out. So you just don't know what the ice is going to do. It might run a little slow out there. It might start to curl early. It might have a funny ridge and it just doesn't come back.
He's got sweepers on already. Looking like...
Then they're off.
They're worried for weight now. It's hoping to catch something to stick. And all that is really, really close.
Really close, but it looks like it drifts a little too far.
Yeah, really good weight on that one, I think. It's just...
Yellow has stolen another point there. So it's 2-0 here. We neglected to show exactly what happened at the end of B.
Yeah, Jeff tried to throw a draw and just a little too much weight went all the way through. So no harm done. Got their 1.
So similar to what happened on D, both those sheets.
Yep.
Come on.
Just trying to add another point on. And it's really important when the final score might be 5-3, 6-4. You know, each little point that you add makes a big difference.
Sheet B, both teams trading 1 point with the hammer. And now we've got a very high guard debate for whether or not it is in the guard zone.
So I looked up the rule on this, or I was just looking at the rules. If they can't agree, they can ask an impartial third party to say, is this in or out? And then that party would make the call.
Oh, there you go.
And the call is it's not in. So it has to go all the way past the line. There's got to be a little daylight between the line and the rock. And they've agreed that it didn't make it. It's getting loud here in the warm room. Not sure if you guys can hear all the noise behind us. But people are excited about what they're seeing. There's also good food that people are eating, and they're excited about that. But it's a nice place to watch right here. I mean, watching on the computer's nice
Very
if you're
much
far
so.
away. But if you can get in here and catch the game in person, you get a lot more of the feeling and the energy and people talking about all of it. So come on by if you're in the area.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've had about 2 rows deep on the sheets this afternoon. And now that we're past dinner time, we've got a little bit of people filtering out as there some people hanging outside under the tents, enjoying the 3rd false spring we're having here in North Carolina.
It's not February anymore, so it might actually be spring. We're not sure.
The seasons are slipping for sure.
All right, so it looks like yellow took advantage on sheet B. Yellow took advantage of the missed guard attempt by red to go ahead and put one in the rings. And then it looks like red is just ignoring that for now and trying to put a guard up. Or were they trying to go in? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
So we have a 5-rock rule where in the first 5 rocks, well, you need to get through the first 5 rocks before you can remove a guard and play. We've got applause in the warm room for the folks who made dinner. So that's what the applause is going on. If you're looking frantically from sheet to sheet to see what the excitement was about, it's off ice.
I know, but it's also quiet. We're not going to race it.
Or it's going to do the floating thing.
All right, sheet B. We're talking about sheet B more than the others because we happen to be physically just sitting in front of sheet B. So we're watching in person as well as on some of the video screens. But now yellow's got 2 in the house, and red, having put up the center guard, now is probably going to try to hit the yellow rock that's on the near the button and roll behind their cover. So there's a couple of different ways to use guards. One is you just draw behind them and get protected there, and then the other one would be to hit something else and try to sit right underneath it. It's difficult to judge because the weight's got to be just right and the line's got to be just right. And this looks to be almost
nice.
exactly that. So it's probably not really buried, but even just the presence of that red stone up there is distracting to somebody trying to hit it, and you get nervous that you're going to crash on the guard, that kind of thing. So it does some benefit even if it's not really covering it. And then, of course, if the other team misses, then you have a chance to put another guard up, and then it's really guarded. But the yellow team is undeterred. They are going after it without any sort of reservation. And this is looking pretty good, I think.
Is it going to get all the way across nose? It looks like very little handle and still not curling a ton. At least not as much as the last red
Certainly
rock.
curled enough. And then importantly, yellow with hammer now is trying to play to the outside. So they pop that one, instead of popping it under there, well, wait a minute, no, sorry.
We're coming around this way, top 8.
Yeah, they rolled out.
Rolled to the outside. But red is the one who's trying to play to the inside without hammer, and yellow is trying to play to the outside. So sort of have this tug of war. Are we going in or are we going out? The different teams. If you're sitting like this, sitting 2, red's going to try to hit one and then roll to the inside, bring the play back to the inside, and yellow will try to hit and roll to the outside, bring the play to the outside. Saving the hammer team is going to want to save that last shot, their last hammer shot, to have access to the button.
Jump, jump, jump!
Tom is throwing a draw. So they're trying to hit that. They're trying to hit that yellow rock.
That's a hit.
Apologies.
And they're calling the sweep because it's curling fast.
Very nice. Good roll. It's going to roll all the way back out of the rings, leaving nothing for anybody to sit on or hit again. The theme on this sheet has been trading the same shots back and forth.
Right.
So it looks like they're going to try to put one back there under that red guard. Just throwing a draw.
All right, so yellow with hammer here. The typical play is to the outside, but that center guard is a fact of life. It's there.
Yep.
So rather than ignore it and go to the outside, they're going to go make use of it and go behind it. That's the plan on sheet B.
Heavy. Feels heavy. Whoa, 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 lot of room. It's really heavy.
It's going to slide a little too far, and it's going to slide just out of play. So that's the trick. That's the trick with the draws. Can you get the weight just right? If not, it might just kind of sail out of play, or it might stop before the rings.
And as they play on, this is going to get faster and faster.
Or possibly it might start slowing down. So you just have to keep a close eye on everything to figure out what's happening.
Yeah, especially depending on what side they're throwing on.
So red's trying to do a takeout here on the yellow. There's a lot of screaming, which usually indicates it's going to be over curling. Are they holding it? Are they holding it? They tried valiantly. It was a really good sweep.
Yeah.
But it just curled too much and missed.
Your turn, Katie. Drop.
Okay, what's happening on those sheets? So yellow is sitting 1 on sheet A. They are without hammer, but up a point. And we're having another rock draw in there, and it's going to sit. They're sitting 1-2 now. Red's got hammer, but yellow's got one more shot on sheet A.
Okay. Line's good right now.
So it looks like red's going to do a hit and roll, try to get behind that pile of rocks as the shot stone.
Line's good. Got a curl. Lots of room.
Over on sheet C, we got Chris Berry in the house calling the rock.
Lots of room.
His red rocks, they're up 3-0, and they do not have hammer.
Right to it.
And he wants him to sweep.
Right
He
to
wants
it.
it to come all the way down to that yellow
Here's okay,
shot
but
stone.
stick to it.
It's getting pretty close, but not quite. But it is definitely the shot stone, so that's a great shot, and not easy to get rid of. Over on sheet D, it looks like they were going to try to take out that top yellow, but it's over curled. We got to keep a tally of how many times we say "but it over curled."
Overcurl, yeah.
So speaking of which, we've got Christine trying to get into that yellow, and does get into the yellow, but rubbed the pile of yellows first. So a little bit of a lucky shot there, but did not get the roll that they wanted. So they wanted their rock to roll the other way, to the right as you're looking at it, and be behind the pile of rocks instead of out there in the open. But it was a good shot to get rid of the one yellow stone, but yellow's still sitting one. And then with a hit and roll here, they could be sitting two. This is over on sheet A. Over to sheet D.
Oh, really good sweeping.
Getting some good sweeping, trying to get this yellow into the shot yellow, and it's there, touching the top four. Very nice shot. It is open, so it looks like on sheet D they're going to just go hit that one that's open. On sheet B, similar situation, and one shot is open and shot rock. There's that hit and roll. Maybe just a little too far to get exactly behind the center guard. Still a very nice shot, and then sitting two. Excellent. Yellow's got to be happy with that.
Discussing whether or not to draw or
It'll come late.
hit on the other side. Looks like they're going to go with a draw.
You're sitting in camp.
So these would be the red rocks.
Same way.
Or perhaps it's a hit. I'm not really sure.
Right, so usually you hold the broom even with the same level as the rock when you're hitting. You hold it on the tee line when you're drawing, but if the rock is on the tee line, you can't tell. So I would expect that this is a hit. That's what I'd do in this situation.
Yeah.
Wouldn't
I think hit, roll, undercover.
you? I think you can, it's a long roll.
Yeah, and that yellow, you'd have to hit it pretty.
I think they're just drawing.
Yeah, I think so. He tapped the button. I'm not sure if he was trying to say hit and roll, but yeah, it's definitely a draw right now.
If we were watching just one sheet more closely, we'd be providing better commentary. But then the question is it going to stick around? It's really scooting side to side.
Moving.
Just kisses that rock, or no? It just went right by.
I think it barely wicked, and yeah,
So that's the downside to going for the hit or going for the draw. If it's not good, well, any shot, if you miss it, it doesn't help. The hit, even if it hadn't have rolled to the place you wanted, you'd at least be getting rid of one yellow if you make it, but you can miss any shot.
How much can you see this one? How much?
About 90%, 80 to 90, yeah.
So now Greg, the yellow team skip, is asking how much can his team see of the rock, the shot rock from the hat. And they're saying they can see almost all of it. So he's going to put up a guard, it looks like. Possibly throwing another one in if it's heavy, but putting up a guard to try to prevent red from going and hitting that. Yellow has hammer, they're trying to manufacture two. Pretty good hit coming up here, it looks like on sheet C. Jammed a little bit. I thought it was going to do a little better than that, but it's hard to tell.
I think it is shot though, maybe. It's hard to tell between that and the back yellow.
It's definitely open. Oh, the red. I'm getting confused. I need to watch one sheet at a time. So back to sheet B. Greg's going to be throwing a guard here, it looks like. And then it's all about trying to get the line right so that there's no easy hit on this. Somebody's saying, whoa, I think it's them. And the sweepers get off the rock, and look at that.
Yep.
That's a great guard there. So they're using the red rock to guard one side of it, and their own yellow guards the other side of it.
Yep.
So it's pretty tough to get to that.
Yeah, it kind of forces Jeff to throw the same thing he just just kind of threw a little heavy. Didn't make a weight adjustment.
So yeah, what do you think about that? Making somebody throw the same shot they just threw.
I mean,
if they just missed it, then maybe there's some nerves about this same thing again.
That's
but
true.
it also allows you to adjust and say, well, I knew that I threw it just a little too heavy, so I'll throw it a little lighter.
Yep. Trust your sweepers and see if you can, get way more curl than you did on your last rock. His last shot probably ended up 2 feet past the back line.
So I think we should say a little bit about the communication that's going on here. The skip, the vice skip in the house is asking how hard they think it is, how far it's going to go, what's the weight, and then she's also wanting them to sweep, get all the way to that shot stone. That's a beautiful shot.
Great shot there.
Right.
Yeah, there you go. There's your adjustment. You force them to throw the same shot twice, and they make you pay a little bit. Only getting one, though.
Sitting one.
Sitting one, excuse me.
So yellow, though, how do they beat that? I think they have to either come down to it and just hit the corner of it, or hit the brakes right on the button.
Yeah.
Which is easier said than done.
I don't even mind if we lose the shooter, because then they didn't sit up.
Okay, Greg is also looking at promoting his guard that he just put up, trying to send that one in to take out the red.
Yeah.
He's probably thinking, I've got 2 yellows already in the house. If I can get rid of that red and sit 3, then that would be 3 points. So this is a little bit, a riskier shot in some ways. We've got some rearranging of what's going on other screens in our facility here. You're hearing other things happening in the background.
Greg shots away.
Greg shots away. Is it going to come back and
It is
run that
hanging
one,
out there.
run that back, or is it just going to chip it to the side? It chips it to the side, and but so in terms of when it's the right time to go for a little high risk shot, maybe try to get a bunch of points. If you're only going to give up 1 worst case scenario, that's
like the right time
on
to try it.
balance, not a bad idea. So if the other team was sitting like 3 or 4, you probably wouldn't try a shot like that. You'd try to do something where you could for sure cut them down to 1 or 2 or score 1. Okay, so that was 1 more point to red. And okay, so the last time they were trying to set this end up without hammer, they wanted a center guard. I don't remember how high it was, but now he wants it biting. He wants it in the house. He doesn't want to have it hogged like the last time. So I'm not sure if he called that before or not, but he's erring on the side of go ahead and putting it in the house rather than having it be too late. With the amount of these rocks are curling, if the guard's really high, it doesn't do a ton because you can get around them with moderate weight.
Just glancing over to sheet D here. Neil's got last rock, yellow, and it looks like he's sitting 1.
I agree. I think he's sitting 1.
And he's been giving a long, hard look here to try to figure out where is my shot for 2. He's standing in front of the guards right now, so I can't really see what the angles are, but looks like maybe chip.
I mean, I'm a little surprised he's not trying to run his far right yellow straight back onto the red. That would be 3. So that would be a little bit like we were seeing on sheet B. Now's the time to try this. You're sitting 1. So you've already got a point, but if you promote that yellow straight forward, take the red with it out, then you're scoring 3. But maybe he looked at that and didn't like it, and he likes this draw to try to just get 2. But if you take a risky shot to score 3 versus a for sure shot to get 2, maybe the for sure shot to get 2 is the right call, particularly with a little lead. So maybe he's being a little more conservative. He's got 2 points already. Doesn't want to get greedy, just wants to score 1 more here. Maybe that's his thinking.
Sorry, I'm way out here, sorry.
Definitely says way out there. He's a little wide.
I'm not sure they're going to be able to get it in.
It's out in the frost, it looked like, and it's curling a ton.
Well,
like they might get
he is promoting
anyway.
the one I was talking about.
Oh, but it ends up pushing the red to be the shot rock. So giving up 1, there's your risk. Oh, excuse me. They still have red has hammer,
yes.
And the rock is hiding behind a pillar and a gripper over there. from my view. So, yeah, situation was okay. But now it's not ideal, allowing them to sit one. They also have a difficult path for two here.
Right, it's a difficult shot to try to outcount. You got to touch a good piece of the red to outcount that yellow at the top right. How do you get there?
Yeah.
Well, you're going to have to probably take a similar path and just kind of cut it sideways at the end and try to outcount it. But they got a break. There'll be lucky breaks and unlucky breaks for each team. Right now, Brian's going to try to take advantage of the lucky break and see if he can make it count for two. Get the game back tied up. Speaking of unlucky breaks, it looks like on sheet B we've got a flash hit attempt here, and red is going to set up to looks like kind of guard their shot rock. Even though the shot rock's outside in the 8, they're going to set another guard up out there. I think that's what they're going for. With that ice, maybe it's just drawing under.
Yeah.
That's kind of good.
A little wide, but I think it should be fine. It's got to come back.
Keep holding lines.
Oh, is it okay? Line. Yeah.
Well, again, we've taken our eye off the ball, and we've not reported what happened with the draw on sheet D. We trust that those of you invested in that match were watching and saw what happened.
Well, it's just like Joe's.
Well, that's not the ideal place for a guard, but it is guarding the back stone for on sheet B. The trick is, if they're going to try a takeout here, can they get both rocks? That's tricky. So in some ways, it does function as a guard just because it's frozen right up pretty close to it. It's hard to get them both gone. Yellow is going for it.
It's a little bit
Wide from our vantage point.
Not calling any sweep.
Now they're asking for a push.
Yeah, I think it's going to flash right by again. That's tough ice.
So there is a situation where we were saying, do you want to make the other team throw the exact same shot? If they're struggling with a shot, you want them to keep going for that exact same shot until they figure it out. So, so now on sheet B, Jeff is calling for the two shots we thought they might be calling for. And it looks like they're going to go for a guard this time again on those outside reds, I think. But with the amount of swing in the ice, this could easily come back to center, which I don't think they mind.
Push, 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 push.
It's staying pretty far outside.
Yeah, and up. Hard now. Stack them up there.
Yep. Free time.
And they got a nice cluster up there at the top of the house.
There is some separation between those first two. So it looks like Greg's going to ask them to come at the pile again. And the more rocks you have, the more widely spaced they are. You know, in theory, the bigger the target is, the more likely you are to hit it. So we're going to see.
Rebecca's shot is off.
Greg says, don't sweep it, don't sweep it. Now he says push. And I think they're going to do something. But what?
Moving something.
It moves
there
the
you go.
granite. Yeah.
Really
Pops that one out the back, puts
good
another
outcome.
one out to the side. Yeah, that's a very, very effective rearrangement of those three rocks clustered together. Sheet C, yellow's trying to curl in a draw right behind their guard. It goes a little bit far. Chris valiantly trying to get it even further. Not quite out.
The barn, then we live above it. Oh, yeah. Curling master.
Yellow does not have, interesting, or this is the fourth end, right? So yellow does not have hammer. And they're peeling their center guard. No, this is red, sorry, that's why. That would make more sense.
Yeah.
So red has hammer. They don't want the yellow rock cluttering up the front. And they're gonna just peel this guard or try. Will it get it? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Very close.
A lot of clapping over on sheet D in the warm room here. I think someone just threw a really good draw.
Yeah, that's very nice. Sitting there underneath the top 8 to 12 guard.
Pick this or you want to try a
And
try draw.
sitting shot rock. Did they update the scoreboard over there? It looks like the red scored 1 only. We were saying it was going to be hard for them to score 2, and that turned out to be the case. The red's going to promote that guarded onto the pile, and it looks hard to tell.
Looks shot from here.
I think so.
Yeah.
Red's shot. Back to sheet B, we've got yellow coming after the red rocks once again. No, they're just drawing behind. Drawing behind.
It's looking great. Sweepers are doing a great job.
Dragging it as far as they can. It's definitely around that red, isn't it?
Wow.
Yes. And then it's just cutting sideways, sideways, sideways. That's
amazing
incredible.
shot.
That was a great sweep. And all the way buried, I'd say.
Yeah, for sure.
Possibly over buried, with just barely clearing that top red rock and then getting all the way in behind it. That's incredible.
Jeff's mentioning that you try to chase that in and kick it out, or ignore it right now and try to maybe get behind it.
Looks like he's taking option B there. Just T-line weight he's calling for. Try to do them one better. Just if you can get behind us at the top 12, we can get behind you at top 8.
That last rock really did come in sideways. I mean, at the top of the house, it was at the C and curling club there, and it just moved 3 feet.
Well, and it just, it almost hit the red.
Yeah.
Like if they weren't sweeping it as hard as they were, it would have hit the red. This is going to have to curl maybe even a little further. It's going to hit that C as well in curling.
Yeah. Really hard sweep, really hard sweep. Are they by the yellow? No, they're just even with it. Maybe, a little higher.
Enough weight. But they're sweeping it anyway. If they can get it to nudge up against the yellow, then it becomes hard to get rid of it. As it is, if you hit on the outside, it's going to jam on that yellow. So Greg is completely aware of that. Instead of coming from the left side, he's coming from the right side. I'm not sure that he's going after that red rock, though. I think he's going after the other red rock. So kind of bounce off of the other red rock and in. I don't think he can possibly be going for the red rock that his broom is next to.
Maybe.
He's calling for hack weight.
Line's a bit outside of where he was aiming, but it's coming back. It's on its way. Asking for sweep hard now.
And what's it going to do? Is it going to just touch that one and come in over?
Oh, wow, yeah.
That's a really nice shot.
Sandwich the red between the 2 yellows. Makes it really kind of hard for them to just bump up their red.
Right.
Without moving the yellow, possibly.
Right, so in one sense, it's good to have that red corner frozen onto the yellow for red because it's hard to get rid of, but in another sense, it's bad because you can't promote it to beat out the yellow.
Yeah.
But I wonder if Jeff's going to think about just coming in here with some speed and hitting both the red and the yellow. I think the red goes into the yellow, the other yellow, that is, and sends it out. Here's where we need those little arrows and stuff on the screens like they can do on TSN.
Christine just threw a really nice draw for 2 on sheet A.
Nice. Taking the chances to get the extra point. So yeah, if he comes in here pretty strong, right for the yellow and red in the middle of those, I think the red goes into the yellow on the other side, and the yellow goes out, the red stays. I'm less sure what will happen to the yellow that's sitting kind of on its own. If you hit that middle part, will it jam on the back red that's sitting above the tee? I don't know. I suppose it's possible.
I can peel him if you want.
But it looks like that's what he's doing. Or attempting, I should say.
This may leave our shoe. So this is nose on the yellow. Their shot.
So what do you think they're talking about? Are they thinking about other shots, or are they just trying to get the right amount of, make sure they understand the amount of weight that's desired?
I think they're talking about the ideal spot to hit the rock. I heard something about nose or just past nose, but he's throwing so he's
So maybe he's just trying to hit the yellow only and not the red.
all right.
Curling sideways. He wants him off. Push. Going for the yellow, in fact, is
Looks
plan.
like it's gonna do that.
And it does that and sends it out. But yellow is still sitting 1. So I'm not sure if that was the original plan or the modified plan, if it felt
Yeah.
like it wasn't going to hit the side of the yellow. They weren't exactly even, so you didn't want to just nick the yellow a little bit and then hit the red.
Yeah.
Or maybe you did. The yellow's got to be careful here. There's a lot of red rocks in play.
Yep.
And there's probably no way to block all the paths to getting rid of that lonely yellow in the 8-foot, the shot rock. And if red ever is able to get rid of that, then they're looking to probably score 4.
I think Greg's hoping to either draw behind or bump the yellow up, maybe out of harm's way. I mean, there's really no out of harm's way in this situation. Yellow or red was still 1 rock after this. They'll probably end up throwing some heavy weight to try to move that yellow.
Well, that's definitely a thing that yellow can do to help the situation. If the yellow rock's lonely, you want to give it some company.
Yeah, a little
With where the broom is, I'm really not sure. I feel like that's going to come back to center.
Yeah, I think he's just throwing a draw, trying to get underneath everything.
All the way around.
Throwing a lot.
Nobody's calling for any sweeping yet.
Oh wow.
Or maybe they're just throwing like a center guard to prevent
That's a good idea.
run
Yeah.
back. But it's gonna
that's
go a
just motoring,
long way sideways, and not where they wanted it to wind up.
No. Yeah, that leaves the promote wide open. Greg still's got 1 more rock, but that's not helping his chances of keeping the shot rock that he's got right now.
Well, that's true. He can answer whatever Jeff does. Looks like Jeff's looking at that outside of the red that will go into the other red and then into the yellow and out. Red would be sitting 4 if that succeeded. Probably. If it comes off the outside of that red, it might go over towards the other yellow. You never know if it could ever come over. I don't think that yellow's going very far though.
Oh yeah.
As a skip, you always like seeing this, where your front end comes down to start talking to you.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. You don't really love that. But if you see something from it looks very different from the hack side of the ice than the house side of the ice. So if you feel like your skip and your vice aren't seeing something, maybe once a game it's worth saying,
Yeah.
hey, did you think about this? But that was a pretty good interjection that was not too long, and he's making sure he's back down to the ice in plenty of time. But yeah, sometimes you just don't see things. And if somebody would have said, did you think about this? Before the shot's a lot more useful than after the shot.
Yeah.
So I think that's what he's doing. I think he's going at trying to aim for the outside of that red.
Kind of move everything around with the intention of just kind of pushing that yellow out. He's got to throw some pretty heavy weight at this.
I would think so, yeah, because you got some sideways motion every time the rock hits. Every time one rock hits another, it loses some momentum. The other rock has to be unfrozen from the ice. And if you hit it at a sideways angle, then it loses yet more momentum. So we'll see. Big shot here.
Also looks like last rock's being thrown on sheet C while we're watching Jeff's. Is that last rock?
Pam's asking them to push and then not push anymore. It's coming in gentle weight here. I'm not sure. Is it going to be enough to do? So it moves, but it's going to stick in the back.
Shot right there.
Very nice. At the very end, it's kind of sucked right back up into that 4-foot.
Should have had a lot of good plan Bs there.
Yeah, that was a good shot. So now red sitting 1. And yellow, as we've said again, in a situation where there's lots and lots and lots of rocks to play, how does yellow ever come up with something for a point here? Ideally, they wanted 2, but now they're just looking at how do we score 1. They could try coming around the outside of the right and bumping that yellow up. They could try just drawing, but you've got to get full 4, which is pretty tough. But we've seen those rocks move that much.
Oh, yeah, very much so.
But the question is, can you throw exactly the right weight into the line so that it stops right in that 4-foot? On a screen above us, we have the Briar going on in Canada, and those guys can. But it's a lot harder in league play to come up with that precision.
Got an extremely busy house on sheet D right now.
Looks like yellow's got 2.
I misspoke about sheet C. Chris Berry's got his last rock now, but yellow is sitting what looks like 4.
Yellow's sitting 4, and Chris Berry is got the lead of 2 points and hammer here. He just needs a rock to stop, to touch red, or be very close to touching red to avert a big end for yellow.
It's got a red rock in the draw path here, so either
It's
he's
a little
playing
bit
to promote.
Uncomfortable situation.
Looks like he is playing to promote. The line looks that right now. Perhaps not. He's inside.
Vice
He's
skip
inside
is
it now.
saying, don't sweep it.
He's inside. He's inside. He's inside.
Is it gonna stop in time? Is the question.
Just needs to whip
It's
on one
looking
of those
Pretty
yellows.
good.
Very nice shot.
Yeah,
in a
look
very high stress situation.
Beautifully done.
Great shot for 1 there.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Against 4. And look how far buried it is. It's over buried
Yeah.
by a rock and by a rocket, at least. Well, we missed the exciting conclusion to sheet B here.
We did.
Maybe we need to divide and conquer here. I know
Need a
that's
runner.
not the right usage of that, but we can. One of us can watch and see what happens. But we'll see what they do. It looks like red scored. That much we know. So I would assume red scored 1 because they were sitting 1 and
Yeah.
yellow was trying to get 1 in there. So unless there was a mistake where it didn't work.
We got Jason Lee here next to us, one of the 7 live streamers right now, listening to our silky voices. 8 live streamers.
All right, all you 8 people out there, unless you've like taken a break and you're coming back to your phone or computer, thanks for watching. We're glad
Very
you're
much so.
here.
Enough people to field a curling game.
Don't even think
That's
about
right.
sweeping. Think about butterfly.
Or 4 mixed doubles games.
Do we have comments embedded on our site? Can people make comments, Jason? Maybe they could ask questions.
I think they can.
Ah. All right, so apparently there's a little bit of a delay, which we'd expect. So if you ask a question,
We do that for legal reasons.
you've got to wait at least 20 seconds or so for an answer. I was saying we could have people put comments and questions in the comments on the YouTube stream.
We could. I
so-
will have to pause the music that is playing.
Sure, why not? So all of you 8 out there, if you have questions, probably half of those 8 are at the tables and they're lazily watching on their phones instead of craning their necks to look up at those monitors.
Yes.
Yes, we would love any questions if anybody has any. And if there are no questions, we'll just assume we're explaining everything so clearly.
Yeah.
I think so.
Good point.
Oh, we've got to be on the right one.
Yep.
Okay. Still showing a 0 for questions and comments. That's okay. But if you do have questions, feel free to fire them up. As long as they're not questions about, like, who do we think will win? Who do we want to win? Most stylish curlers, all that kind of stuff. Although Jason Lee has that pretty much wrapped up with
Very
his
much so.
with his tutu and epic game character that I can't remember. Which one? Puddle team leader.
You look good, you feel good, you play good. That still applies to curling.
Most definitely.
Okay, well then.
Jason said he would give you a $2 prize if you comment.
Did he
with
say
a,
that?
With a useful comment.
Get behind this one, maybe.
Or that you would have to give Jason a $2 prize.
Yes, or we could do that. We could auction off the rights to ask a question. Any questions are fine, but still not seeing any yet.
Our
That's all
viewership
right.
is increasing.
Oh yes, we're going viral, I'd say.
And we're only on the first of the 2 later draws here tonight. Stick with us.
Well, I'll be playing in the second one, so I will not be commentating.
Fortunately, we do not have a lav mic that we can
We
hook to
don't
you.
have a live mic situation. That would be very interesting.
There's a lot of rocks lined up on sheet A. But the house is just full of rocks on the outside.
Right in the 12-foot only. Like there's a hill in the middle that they can't quite climb.
Yeah.
But it's tricky. They slide sideways. That's not criticism. That's just the trickiness of the situation.
It looks like Christine's going to attempt to try to draw in there.
Line's good. Looks heavy.
This is the first rock of skip stones for the red of the two.
We can get here, but it's got a long way to go with that weight. So, yeah, no, it wasn't. Nice, like
Back on sheet B, we've got, looks like a draw that they're hoping gets around the corner, or the corner-ish center guard, but it goes around, but it slides out the back two.
T1, top 4.
Christine's rock is trying to drag it as far as they can. Looks really nice. It's full 8, so it is shot.
Shot rock, and it's behind that that set of rocks.
Yeah.
Maybe you can get to that top 12 red and send it back into the red, but it's tricky for sure.
Mine's pretty good right now. Nice shot, Chris. Wait.
I would say George is trying
Looks like
to
a similar
blow this up.
situation on D as B, where they were just trying to draw behind the guard, but this one looks like it's going to check up pretty nicely and finish and be maybe halfway buried. But that's a good situation. Yellow should have hammer, I think. Or no, they haven't put up the fourth end yet. Looks like yellow doesn't have the hammer by the way they're playing.
all kinds of plan Bs here, so.
So red's going after that shot stone that's halfway buried on sheet D.
Push, push, push. Push.
Sweepers are going hard because they're worried it's going to hit into the guard, and it just clips it. But the red rock has helpfully got a vision for the rings and heads right over to that outside 12. So in some ways, that's the perfect shot. You tick over the guard, and then you have a rock in play. So usually we wouldn't call that by design, but it was a good result.
Just draw right here. Go down to it.
So over on A, we've got people going for the hit here. They're pushing. Looks like it's maybe going to hit the front one. It does. Oh, will it maybe hit the back one too? No.
Oh.
So red sitting 1, but it does not have that protection that it had a moment ago because that got split out.
Go, Carl.
Lots of different views here.
Okay. All the way down. All the way. All the
So
way.
what do we've got? We got 1 rock for each side. Red's throwing next, then yellow.
Yep.
Red could have 2 ways of thinking about this. One would be we could tap that top one up. Maybe you'd be sitting 2. Or you could curl in behind it. You'd definitely be sitting 2.
Let's try it this way.
And looks like Christine's saying you tap it.
That's why you want to
Just
come this
through
way,
that
this way.
draw, so
Yeah. Do one more draw.
Going to do a little bit more weight.
If you get here, it can make it there. Just top 4. Whatever I did, do that.
Why do we say weight and not speed? Do we have an answer to that?
that's a great question.
I think the idea is momentum, right? That's really what matters, the momentum. The mass of the rock times the speed. So
Yeah.
that's really what matters. But the rocks are more or less the same. So speed, when I remember first starting, I think, why don't we just say a speedier rock, a faster rock? But we say weight. Whatever the reason, that's what we say. So here comes the rock from Christine. She's trying to come around to center and tap that shot stone back so that's even better and is replaced by a guarding stone that's also in a scoring position. And they're sweeping it really hard because they're not sure that it's going to get there. And really, really hard. That was a very nice shot, and it protects that back stone pretty well, but I don't think it's a second counting shot. I think it's the third counting shot.
No.
We getting any questions yet?
I was looking up the answer to your question. Why
Oh.
we use weight instead of speed.
We're doing
Just-
something useful rather than just blabbering.
Yeah.
How interesting.
It simply came down to the fact that it was born out of the sports vernacular to start with, and I guess it just stuck.
So we should have a disclaimer here that this was an answer according to
According to OpenAI's ChatGPT.
So it's this.
Okay, so perhaps that's, you know, from the model a couple of years ago, and maybe new information has come out.
Maybe.
We don't know. But that's pretty much what we were.
Lines up with what you're saying. Using weight emphasizes the control and precision required and the force that we're using rather than just
Well, then I want
speed.
to put it here.
It's probably physics related. We too.
Try to go for the double one, too. A little bit lighter.
You have a comment. They asked, why did we take the other teams off the feed? We were focusing on sheet A. If you do want to watch all the sheets, we have 2 live streams, one without commentary that will stay on that multi-view of showing every single sheet.
What's the weight?
Try to focus in on some sheets that we are currently watching as we are entering the second half of all of these games.
Okay.
So you can go back to YouTube Triangle Curling and see a different feed that has all 4 of them and no commentary. That will look like that.
Yep.
And we'll go back to that. So thank you to our
Yes.
first viewer who provided us with our first comment of the night. And I'm judging by your name that there's probably sheet C that you want to watch.
Yep.
Which maybe we should zoom in on sheet C as a
C.
makeup. All right, we're going to do that.
Let's take a look at what's going on.
What's going on sheet C?
Let's get a different. All right. So it looks like Chris is trying to line up.
Red is sitting 1.
Is he trying to bump that yellow? It's kind of hard to see from where we're standing. We've got a couple people.
A couple of players
front
on
of
the
us.
ice in the way. It's sort of rude to ask the players to move so that the commentators can see better. But
it's not beneath me.
Yes, yes. Never assume that that question is out of bounds. So the red rock is coming in here. It looks like a little bit guardish, or maybe bumping the 2 reds there to try to.
If I'm short, it's fine. I'm here, it's fine. Drop here.
Yeah. Okay. So they've promoted that a little. Oh, maybe they're trying to prevent the yellow team from promoting their yellow up into a better situation.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the yellow team doesn't seem interested in that anyway, and they're coming after this red in the back, which, if they can hit and stick, they'd be sitting 3. Here comes the delivery. I'm not hearing any sort of screaming for sweeping, which is always nice. The question is it going to clear that guard?
My goodness, that thing is moving a mile, but it's still going to hit that guard. Both of them.
But
Wow.
then it still moves forward, still makes contact, just touches it. Probably is not shot though. So red is still shot, but they're not going to be able to get rid of that yellow that was put there without removing their red. So it looks like somebody was concerned that they touched a rock. So unfortunately, they can't ask us to rewind the feed and see where things were. But they think it would have done something like that had somebody not come into contact with it.
And it was far away from where the shot was, so it just simply, from the sweepers trying to avoid rocks, perhaps accidentally bumping it with their foot. Skips will confer and decide where they should leave it.
Okay, yeah, the reds were originally stacked right together, and so they're suggesting that it would have kicked further had somebody's foot not been there.
Yep. It's always good to get input from the players who are involved in that. It's not just up to the skips.
So again, if you're looking for another feed, there's another channel on the Triangle Curling YouTube channel that you can see all feeds at once, and you will not hear our commentary. But we're zoomed in on sheet C for a bit, and we're going to see what they're up to. So red sitting 1, but it's an uncomfortable one because there's a lot of yellow around, and yellow can certainly get rid of that red, but red cannot get rid of the yellow that's next to it. So I think they are either trying to draw one in, right into the 4-foot buried, or possibly guard, but I bet they're trying to go in behind.
Maybe, that yellow is, I mean, it's a very, not sure if I'm using the term right, but it's loaded, where they could just knock that yellow out, and now they're sitting 4 in the house if it doesn't spill.
Yellow into red, and then you lose the red, and yellow sits 4. That's right.
Yeah, and so I think maybe Chris is thinking, let's get something under there as fast as we can before we lose the ability. And it definitely looks, oh wow, that is curling a ton. It's definitely going to be on the guards. Not sure if there's any tap-ups here that they're going to play as plan B, C.
Or they might think, yeah, if they can get on the inside of the other red, maybe push that red out as a guard, but no, it's just going to take up some space in the center. And so it can be used, right? They can, on his next shot, they can bump that one up. He's got another shot, right? Just one more.
Yeah.
So yes, this is uncomfortable position for red because yellow has a shot here to hit and stick and sit 4, and yellow has hammer. So we saw, was it last ends? Last ends where Chris had a really nice draw to attempt to avoid that problem situation against a bunch, and he made it. So he saved the day on that. But when you don't have hammer, that becomes a lot trickier. He still could do it with his next shot if he can get buried where they can't get to it. So here comes yellow. Yellow aiming very clearly for that hit. I don't think they have an easy time getting rid of their own yellow, but even if they did get rid of it, they wouldn't mind it. We're hearing, yeah, I believe that's from that sheet for sweeping. I believe they're concerned it's going to over curl here. What's it going to do? It's really taken off. Could they ever just hit the red? Nope.
They moved the red.
Moved the red.
Moved it enough.
Sitting 4, like we said.
Yeah. Really great shot.
Excellent shot. So red's sitting 5 rocks in front of the house, 1 rock at the very back of the house, but yellow has 4 in the house, and the white 8-foot rings, and 1 more rock to go. So my first inclination, as I thought they were going to call, is to hit that yellow that's on the outside and then roll in. So that would get rid of 1. And they've got a long way to roll there, and they've got some catchers at the back, so they might be able to.
Yeah, we do have a question, and it's from Jason Lee.
1 full 8. Make sure full 8.
Oh, right. So Jason Lee has asked the kind of question we said we were not going to entertain. What are so-and-so's greatest weaknesses? No, we're not answering those questions, Jason. No, that's not the spirit of curling.
Like it?
Okay. Well, other commentators may go there. Brian and I are sticking to the spirit of curling, and we're just gonna give you a positive take on all things.
They want to do their own marketing.
I tried to throw back line.
They're welcome to do it themselves afterwards.
Well, you know, it is worth saying, you know, curling is one of the only sports I know where you discuss your strategy right out there in the open.
Yeah.
So in baseball, they never say, okay, let's throw them a curveball. Yeah, let's do that. Good idea. They keep everything hidden, and then, or they try to, and then we're focused in on this feed. So Chris is going to try to hit this and roll under, but it doesn't roll. It sits right there. So we did get rid of 1 yellow, so he'll be happy about that, but he will be disappointed that it didn't roll a little bit to the inside, because now the yellow team has the exact same shot they just did and made successfully to score 4, which would be give them a 1-point lead.
I think the way they played these last 2 ends is keeping a lot of yellow rocks in the house. This one totally different. Many more red rocks in the guard zone, but they've been trying to capitalize on this, and it seems like this is going to be one of those rare opportunities, at least for this weekend, to get a big end.
Right, and so much of the game comes down to that. If teams can trade ones, maybe a 2 here or there, and then somebody comes up with a 4 or 5, that's the one that's going to win it. So they are really yelling. They want to hold it straight. I think it's going to make it fine.
Hit and stick is great. There, nice roll for good measure. And
that's a great shot for 4. All right, well, I think our visitor, our person who was wanting to see more closely, didn't appreciate the outcome of that particular end. So our apologies that our commentary didn't lead to something better for your side. But on the upside, we have a nice close game again.
Yeah. I mean, the announcer's curse goes both ways.
So what's happening on the other sheets? It looks like yellow scored 2 on sheet B, and now that's tied. And so red has hammer.
Yep, a lot of tight games.
What's happening on A? We've got a 1-point lead for red. Scores 5-4. And yellow has hammer. Yellow has hammer, and red is screaming for the shout, the sweep, I believe, right as soon as the rock is out of the thrower's hands.
Either on the guards or getting
Trying
around
to
them.
get by. Can it get by? Yes. Nudged the guard just a little and still got by, but lost some momentum from that, and neither of the other yellows went out. In fact, one that looks like is in a better position. So, but not right under the guards either. So George takes no time, George being the yellow skip, to say, I want to throw another one in there. Putting the pressure on. Jason is saying it's a coincidence he called out the person he called out, and it was just somebody who happened to be there. No hard feelings, I hope. Well, it looks like we have a change in the commentary booth. Joining us is one Logan Shoup.
Hello, everyone.
Just got off the ice, what, a couple hours ago?
Yep, to a loss.
To a loss.
To a loss.
We didn't need to mention that.
No. I'm only here until Brian gets his drink and comes back. But
Ah.
So what do we got going on here? We've got 4 tight games.
We've got 4 tight games. What's happening on D? I can't see it. People are standing in the way.
Tight enough.
4-1.
Got Joe Chapa throwing a hit here on sheet B.
Yes.
It's looking fine.
So I was gonna make mention of the fact that since you had just gotten off the ice, did the ice seem different in the the previous draw that you were throwing than in anything before? Was it pretty much the same?
So I would say our first draw, which was on sheet A, right after the rocks were sanded, didn't know anything from the flood. It was curling like no other, maybe 9 feet of curl. Our second game we played on B, and that played somewhat normal with a little bit of a hook right around the center line. And then we just played D, which usually is the culprit of being the sheet that doesn't have any kind of consistency. And actually it played very controllable. Lot of high weight control on being able to sweep that and do something with it. So I would say that it's only getting better with each passing game.
And so you played on Thursday, Friday, and now Saturday for the first time?
Yes.
Okay. So 1 a day.
1 a day and 1 tomorrow morning.
All right, so on sheet B, we've got a jump. The sweepers are jumping on that one, making sure it's getting by and it's making good contact. And Greg is sweeping the redstone out of play. So what's red going to do about it? So we've seen a lot of this on sheet B where a good shot is made and the other team says, well, we've got to do the same thing then. So
They're coming the other way on this one, though.
That's right.
A little bit of hack here.
It's peeking out the side a little better on this side.
And he seems to think, based on where he put his broom, that he can hit that nose and just basically replace himself with 1 stone upwards.
Yep. And then the other thing to say is that since red has hammer, they probably don't mind removing the guard.
I mean, even if they kibble it on the outside.
They're pushing to try to get it further. And can they get to nose? Yes, beyond
and
nose.
a cross nose.
Right, went right across the nose and then rolled to a nice place with hammer. You're wanting to direct the play to the outside. So every time the rock rolls, it's going to roll generally back towards the out of the house, to the inlines. So it looks like what Greg wants is a board weight hit here. And so that's going to come around and hang on a second.
Looking on sheet C, looks like we're trying to draw in either through this port or all the way around it. They're coming down on it, trying to keep it straight. Chris Berry's calling them on. They might be able to slip through, but it looks like it's just falling off the edge. And maybe a little bit light too, so now it's crashing on that high guard, making the wall of stones even higher.
So, what you want this?
Back on sheet B, yellow was playing that, I believe he said board weight hit to try to roll under, but it looks like it did not make contact. And so red is trying to figure out how do we get another rock right there where he's holding the broom. with as much curl as we're having, that's not easy to do, because if he holds the broom too far outside, you get out into the frost and you don't know exactly what the ice is doing.
Yeah, exactly. And really, one of the things here is he's almost off the sheet, right? Like he's got his right foot on sheet C.
Nope.
Easy, but it's in the frost
So
now.
I guess they don't really mind as long as they split the house and they're in.
They want to split the house, and it looks like they don't want to be under the guard. So it looks like it's taking some time to get it down here, and I don't think they're going to get it quite far enough, although if they can bite, that will be something. Not quite.
I have a little more ice. Control. Let's want to do the draw. Let's do control.
Okay. You know, hit the broom this time.
All right, Logan is gone, and Brian is back.
I returned the gluten-free my name, as well as Bar. Shout out to Lindsay for during a very chaotic period of time here. 2 kegs of kicked, a lot of restocking. Cody.
So we have a fall on the ice, but the rock was not touched. More importantly, the sweep. In curling is slipping and falling, and especially hitting your head, though you can hit elbows, knees, hips, anywhere basically, but the head is the one we're most concerned about. So we've seen a fair number of falls today.
I want to come this way if you do it. Here.
What do you guys want to do?
Okay, non-commentary people, if you didn't want commentary, we do apologize for offering our commentary. This was due to a technical glitch because probably somebody just pushed the wrong button.
You're getting what you get. It's not opposite day, but let's just go with that.
How about this? If you don't want commentary, press that mute button.
Yeah, there you go.
I think we're going to try to fix the technical issue and get it gone, but I'm not sure if we're going to be able. Okay.
Yeah.
So you get a full money back guarantee. If you didn't want commentary and you got it, then your free feed will be free instead of free.
Back to the fall there, and you were mentioning you've had a couple of them. What is the consensus on why we don't wear helmets in this sport? I know that's a potentially contentious topic to bring up on the non-commentary feed.
Some people do wear helmets, I will say that. In fact, when the little kids are out here learning, you tell them bring a bike helmet, and they wear their bike helmets out here, and it's as cute as can be when they're doing the learn to curl, and all the kids wearing their bike helmets. I think the reason we don't wear helmets is people don't like that idea. They prefer, just like the hockey players, they never wanted to wear helmets, or they wanted the freedom not to. You can see better, you can feel the way the wind is going and the breeze as everything, it just seems to work a little easier.
Yep.
And falls are pretty uncommon for pretty experienced people. Well, there's been some excitement here. We have a moth in the house.
Yeah. Whenever we open up the doors to take the recycling out, usually we get 1 or 2 of them to buzz in here. Very exciting for us. You guys can't see this.
Well, the moth is really excited too because there's all this light to fly towards in the ice shed. But probably don't want to go out there though. It's cold.
Yeah.
All right. So back to sheet B that we've been neglecting. So Red has parked a draw underneath the high guard, and now they're sending another one in to help protect the shot rock, it looks like. And that's going to sit top 12.
Very nice rock.
Very nice rock.
It does set up open wide double there, but if you do double that, you're not going to be shot. You still have the other red to worry about.
Right.
Not sure what Greg is going to.
So yellow has hammer. They're initially at the beginning of the end thinking, how do we score 2 or 3? And then depending on how the game is going, you might be thinking, well, how do we just score 1? Or how do we minimize the damage to only 1? Them having 1. Oh, I wish we had a camera on this. We have somebody trying to capture, Ken is trying to capture the moth. Have you been trained in animal handling there, Ken? The answer is no, because you can't find it anymore. It's gone away. Brian did a takeout on the moth, and now it is unreachable. It's behind guards.
I redirected it.
All right, so it looks like they're trying that double you're talking about. The yellow is going to chip the guard and crash into one of the other red rocks. And now the guard did its job, and all the reds stuck around. So red is still sitting 3, and red has hammer. So that's the situation we've talked about before, where the one color of rocks starts piling up in the house. What do you do? Now, one idea of what red could do in this situation, I'm curious what you think of this.
Just put it back.
What if you peel their guard? You know, the guard is the best chance for the non-hammer team here to get a rock down behind it. So if you peel that guard, it's a very aggressive move.
Yeah.
But you peel that guard, get it out of the way. Then what does yellow ever do? I guess they're trying to hit one of those reds and slide under it. Maybe corner freeze onto one of them, but they're all above T.
Yeah.
So oftentimes people are not thinking about that situation, but really red's biggest threat here is that yellow guard. If yellow were to curl down right behind it, they would not be able to get rid of it. Well, maybe they could, because they've got the other reds they can hit in off. So maybe that's not that big of a threat in this particular situation.
Everything's kind of north of T here as well, so it's not the worst situation with the guard up top. But yeah, I think maybe in league play, especially at our level, I wonder if that's a common thought this late in the game when they have hammer. Peeling guards just sounds weird.
Yeah, they don't seem to like that idea, and I don't really blame them. I think that even if you put a yellow right in on the button, you just hit it out by hitting into the red on the right-hand side. So maybe it doesn't really help them to do this, but I think they're just trying to curl another one in here and park it up there top 12.
Certainly puts the force on the table, but I think perhaps the 2 in the house already, maybe they're thinking a steal of 1 or 2 or 3 is twice as nice.
Well, red has hammer, yeah?
Another thing that's very common for me to do is mix up who's got hammer, especially in the games I'm playing.
Right, well, when we keep watching between different sheets, then we get that confused as well. So that appears to just be guarding some of the ideas that yellow might have to draw in there.
Yeah.
But I will say this, if yellow does decide to draw in there or hit one of the reds and then popped over to the side, then it's a little uncomfortable. But this is yellow's last rock, right?
Yep. Greg's going to try to just hit and roll right here. I don't know if he's worried about being shot, mostly just preventing more than 2 here.
Well, so this is the situation I said that could be problematic. If they hit that one and roll just a little to the side, I'm not sure that red has a good way of getting rid of it.
That's a good point. Yeah, they'd have to draw.
With the high guard, maybe you could come around it and still get rid of it. But if he makes this right, it could be the end saver and potentially the game saver, because this being the 6th end, looks like they're behind on time. So only one more end to go. If red were to score 3, that would 3 or 4. You know, that would be pretty decisive.
Yep.
So here it comes. Here comes the hit.
Moving.
They're asking him to push it. It's maybe not moving. It's not going to get that roll they wanted.
It's going to flash.
Ooh, it just nudges it over. So that's unfortunate for yellow.
So now they've got red's got a couple of options here. They could just throw the shot they just did and bump up the one they've got. They could try to.
Well, this is hammers. You just have to touch paint for 4.
Would you go for greedy shots, like trying to split one of those guards since they're so close to the house, or?
I don't think they're that close. I think you play the scoreboard. You got one more end. A lead of 4 is very good.
That's a good point.
You're happy with that, and so I think just touching some paint here is more than good. You try to spill one in. You know, you just catch the corner of the rock. Neither rock goes in. You're still happy up 3 without hammer. But 4 is a very solid lead.
I feel like in 2 ends we've had 4-ender on sheet C.
They are not touching that because it looks like it's maybe going a little heavy.
It is.
If it touches
on
something,
one of theirs.
if it touches something, that'll be a saver. Yeah, it touches on the side, and then now nothing goes out. So red scores 4,
nice.
And that's a terrific shot.
Yeah, second 4-ender, there we go.
So a bit of bad luck, I think. The yellow hit didn't move as much as they thought it might.
Yeah.
And So that sets up red to be in pretty good shape for the last end. Or that'll be their last end. 7 ends will be all they get.
Over on sheet C, Chris Berry's throwing. Final rock here. Through a lot of traffic, trying to get it to sit on top of that yellow.
And it maybe
wow.
does. We got a, looks like
I think
2 red. 1 red for sure.
Yeah, this might be a measuring
Maybe just one.
situation.
I think just 1 red. The one on the right, I think, is more. But
Yeah.
ooh, that was a fantastic shot for nearly 2. 1 will tie up that game.
Yep, and I think they just called it at 1.
So that's a tie game. And it looks like I can't see the score on sheet A. There's a 3 there somewhere. I don't know where the 3 is.
It's on the 4th end. So it is a two-point game.
2-point game there.
It's the 7th end.
They should get another end in after this. And then on sheet D, it looks like sheet D we have, difficult to say. Is that a yellow sitting 1 maybe, or red? We have a very small view of it here. We can't really tell.
This is the final stone in the 6th. I think Neil's just throwing it away. Do no harm here.
Yellow doesn't want to hurt themselves, so presumably that's 1 yellow. But even if it weren't, I'm not sure they could have helped themselves.
Yeah.
So yellow will then take a 3 rock lead, and 3-point lead into the final end. Yeah, they won't get more than 7 in either. So you're feeling pretty good there.
Yeah. We've got 3 sheets here, all potentially 2-point games, 2-point differentials. The 4-ender on sheet B just kind of blew the doors open here, but I think the mindset, at least I've had in curling recently, is if you can get 4 in an end, maybe a little bit of luck with a strategy, you can try to do the same thing right back.
True, it's always possible.
Yeah.
But curling is definitely a sport you can play in a way that will minimize the opportunities for a big end.
Exactly.
So certainly I would expect that from the red team on sheet B. They're going to try to keep things clear. And as you see, they've gone in the house. They're not putting any guards up. They want to keep things clear and simple.
Okay. That's fine. Through's fine.
Yellow with a lead of 3 on sheet D is throwing a guard in here, or draw in here. It's going to be a little bit deep. And maybe just bite in the back there.
Yep, touching that back line.
So if I'm red, I don't mind that one there, because it, again, complicates things a little bit. You try to take something out. So I think the red team was sweeping it to try to get it out. And maybe it could have helped them. Well, it does help them by sitting around, so maybe they're not too sad it didn't go out of play. Sheet C, it's all tied up after the big 4-ender in 5, and then a responsive 1, playing the last end. We've got a center guard, and then now another center guard. Maybe not staggered, maybe just right on top of it. Pretty close to just right on top of it.
This way still. Yeah, okay.
So we always talk about the hammer and how that's the advantage. So red has the hammer, they have the last rock. But if yellow can get to that button first, and there's a lot of guards out there and there's no way to get there, that minimizes the advantage. So we'll see what happens over there with sheet C.
Joe's rocking. We're gonna sweep it. Yeah.
Yellow's trying to get this to go, but it's just not going to have enough juice.
Wow.
So, but yellow has hammer, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
Chris just scored 1 in the last.
So
Yellow's got hammer.
yellow has that advantage, and you would think that they probably would rather not have a bunch of center guards.
Yeah.
But they swept that one and got it over. Red is trying to now minimize the advantage the yellow has and get to the button first. A little bit of race to the button with those 2 guards, but with the amount the ice is swinging and the liveliness of the rocks, it's not the end of the situation. If you get one in there, you can remove some guards.
Yep.
That looks like it's finishing pretty nicely.
Very nice. Chris is getting that one. It's probably sitting right there on the button.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Beautiful.
Great shot.
So now that guard is really hurting them because you might have been able to come around and hit it with some light weight, but with where the guard is, there's no way to do it now.
Come this way, and then if we're
Try to
So-
peel it maybe to get things cleaned up.
You could peel it or you could peel the others. I mean, those are even more hurting you.
For sure.
So the call here is to clear these guards.
Yep.
It's going to be tough to get rid of both of them when they're lined up really closely. He just wants to catch the edge of the red, either edge, left edge or right edge, and get rid of it.
There's a jam risk here on that beautiful draw you just threw, but
Well, he wouldn't mind that. He would
Yeah.
be happy to just run him straight back. The challenge, though, is if you run him straight back and it misses the other rock, then you've just replaced the guard with another guard. Looks like it's going to come on the outside.
all right, it's effective.
Will it get both of them? No, just
Nope.
the one. But they're fine with that.
Yep.
So you're clearing the path to try to get to that red. And
And your run back is there, and
so what's the
draw
red
path's
team
still
going to
there.
do? There's a couple things to do. One is replace the guard, maybe a little higher. That's Chris's first instinct. You could also try to come around the other guard and go in there, but I don't think he's in. Well, he's thinking about that maybe.
Yeah.
Nope. Goes back to the original idea. Just wants something probably touching the center line there
Yep.
and just protecting the run back as well as just the direct hit. Looks like on sheet B, the team with a 4-point lead also has 2 rocks in play in the house in scoring position.
Good.
But the yellow team curls over close and behind cover. So red could do a number of things. Red could say, that's a good shot. I'm just going to come right down to it. How are you ever going to get 4? But I think the safer move, is which Jeff appears to favor, just get rid of the guard.
Yeah.
got a little behind this. All right, control. If we-
So let's see. We've got yellow is down 2 over on sheet A, and red is sitting 1. Looks like they're going for a hit. It might score 2 if it goes by,
Wow.
and it does. But will it hit the other? No. Will it hit theirs?
Ah.
Yes. Oh dear. So now instead of being in a position to score 1, maybe 2, now they've given up 2 for sure and possibly 3. I think it's 3.
Yeah.
So that's very unfortunate. But that's not the end. Red has a shot and then yellow has 1 more shot. So that was not hammer. But they were going for that hit and it looked pretty good, but it was just curling so much that it missed the target rock and then hit their own rock. So it looks like on C we're doing a lot of putting up guards and getting rid of them. Putting up guards and getting rid of them. And now we're in the putting up guard stage. So you see this a lot towards the end of a game where you're tied up and it's just one point or not 1 point makes all the difference. So yellow on sheet B knows they can't keep putting up guards that get peeled. So they're putting another one in the house. They're hoping for some misses because they need to score 4 to tie. So I think that's the right strategy, is put another one in there, and then you hope that this either stays a little bit on the outside, jams on the red, something like that. You need a little assistance here.
Ken's throwing a hit at the cluster of yellows, trying to hope for a double here.
All right, come on. Come on, hard. Yeah. All right, up, up, up.
Meanwhile, on C, we've got another guard coming into place pretty well. Ba-boom, 1 yellow goes out the back, and the red sits on top of it. So it becomes challenging for yellow to get some creative ideas for how to score 4. Maybe they can come in off the inside of the red and then to the other, a sort of double, an in-off double. B.
That is
Just hit about where the L is on the upside-down triangle curling, and then pop over, and then maybe you're. But see, the problem is you're still not even shot in that situation. But
you still have to-
they can't win it all in one shot, so they've got to set up things one by one.
Yeah.
So here comes the hit. It looks a little wide to me, but with the amount that it curls, it almost feels like it's never too wide. And sure enough, it's coming back, and will it get? But it jams on the yellow, and so well, it's a tough shot.
Yep.
And they needed to be right on the inside, and it was a little on the outside. So now red's sitting 3, and red is. If they can see a yellow in the rings, they're going to try to get rid of it at this stage.
I think Jeff's just thinking, knows this, get it out of the way.
I think we got to go back to our mega cast. This game is not so much in doubt, but in sheet C here, where it's all tied up, we have we've gotten rid of the guard, and now there's a yellow rock in the house next to the shot stone. So you can't really guard your red in this case because yellow can always hit into their yellow. On D, we have a hit and roll in. Maybe in. Is it going to get in? Might not be biting quite. Yellow's up by 2. And wait a minute, what's going on there? This should be in 7.
A is shaking. Looks like Christine's team winning. I think they had enough time to get an 8th in, but
They scored enough points to make it
the amount of rocks in the house
improbable.
was a very large end. So insurmountable. Good game on sheet A.
So on B, they're trying to get rid of any yellow they can see, and they've gotten rid of the yellow they can see and parked another one.
There you go.
Looks like top of the house. So it's how many rocks does yellow have left? 2.
2.
And how many they have in the house? 1. How far down are they?
They are down by
4. So I don't know if they're going to even try. Looks like they are.
I think they are. I mean, with time expiring here, we're just about to go under the 10-minute mark, so they will not get an 8th end in, and I think they're shaking. Yep.
Yeah, they're shaking. There's no way for them to score 4 unless the other team just helps them out somehow. So the red team is 1 on sheet B. So we've got sheets C and D and the exciting conclusions. Sheet D, unfortunately, is kind of far away from us, the furthest sheet away from us, and so we haven't paid them as much attention as we might have. They are sitting 2 at the moment, red is, but they didn't put a 6 up. We don't know what happened in the 6 end.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
So it appears, let's see, who has hammer?
I think yellow.
Yellow has 2
Yellow-
rocks,
oh,
red has 2 rocks.
Sorry, red's
So
got
red
hammer.
has hammer, so that means yellow scored in
Yeah.
the 6th end. Yes. We don't know how many.
That is the end where Neil threw it away to potentially
So we think it's just
avoid
1.
making things worse. So
So I think it's just 1. So we think there's
Perhaps.
a 3-point deficit for red. Red needs to score 3. We think.
God, I mean, yeah.
I think we got to go back to our mega cast because we've got good action going on C as well here. So the red team has got to put a rock somewhere useful. Where is that? Is it right up next to the other red rock? They need to steal 1. Yellow has that hammer, but they've been able to negate the good situation they had where they had a guard and 1 shot in behind it. This yellow rock that's there serves to get around that guard situation.
It's a really good
This
looking
is a
shot.
great shot, right? 'Cause maybe it's going to rub off the yellow, the inside of it, and just sit to it. That's a fantastic shot.
Tremendous. Holy cow, we got a lot of oohs and ahs here inside
right.
the warm room.
That's one of our newest members coming in from out of town to join us. And what a good shot from Keith there.
But at the same time, don't hit this one.
So yellow, I think here just has to hit the red there. But then red still can guard. There's 3 stones left for yellow and 2 for red. So there's plenty of time still.
Yep.
It's good not to panic, even when it looks like, ooh, that's a bad situation. Because it can change.
That's for a pretty heavy weight here.
Yeah, hard.
I just left the center line. It does move a ton right here.
Looks like it's moving enough. It's going to get it. They take the sweepers off. What's going to happen? Probably that first red stays right where it is.
Yep.
And well, no, it popped over to the
Yeah,
side.
popped over. Still shot,
Still shot.
but under that guard over there.
It is under the guard. So in some ways, that was a fortunate place for the roll to happen. You can't really see the guard very well on the screen. It's covered up by our inset a little bit,
Yeah.
but there is a yellow rock there, which makes it hard to hit that red one. So what is Chris thinking? We've got on D, we got some interesting action here. Red, again, we think down 3, trying to draw a 3rd counter in, and they have done that, I believe.
Yes, I
think
do
they're
believe. I think it's
just-
biting.
Biting at the top there. So,
Just to take a look at the top down here. It's
yeah, it looks
Yep,
pretty
just
strongly
biting.
to be biting.
a nice shot.
It is a nice shot. So they're sitting 3 for the moment. But down there, yellow has 1 shot left and red has 1 shot left. So I think if you're red, you want to hit if you're yellow rather. I think you hit the one you can see. That's not going to be a problem.
Roll under. And
If you can roll under, great. If you can, even if worst case scenario, you're going to skip stones if you can get rid of one. So which way to go? Well, we think there's a 6th point that wasn't recorded.
yeah.
Well, there's not a recorded point behind.
Unless, yeah, there was definitely rocks in the house, so it wasn't a blank.
Well, it could have been a blank if they were exactly equidistant. But if it were a blank, then it's true. Then red would have kept hammer.
Tight end.
Well, red does have hammer. So yeah, I think we would have seen measurement tools out in that situation.
Yeah.
So I think they've just not put up the score. We think they're down 3. And here comes the, we're going to have somebody go back and fire up the time machine and find out what happened.
Neal's shot is away here.
Here comes in the shot. Oh, we got to show the mega. We got to show all this, everything.
Chris
They
is-
are
yeah.
going after the other ones, it looks like. And this could be terrible, because if it just chips that,
Uh-oh.
oh dear. So it doesn't get anything out. That was the problem that you wanted to, at all costs,
Yeah.
definitely get one out. It didn't get one out. So now, I think they can ignore that yellow. It's not, it's 4th position.
Yeah.
And Brian is an excellent curler. Can set up a draw for the win. And there you go. Like we've said,
Yeah.
even in situations that look a little bit bleak, you just keep going and you never know when an opportunity will present itself. So sheet C is also quite interesting at this moment because it looks like red's sitting 2. I think red's sitting 2 on sheet C, but
Yeah.
yellow has hammer. And they are behind that guard. That guard, remember that guard? They swept it really hard to get it over the line.
Yeah.
And they are probably regretting that decision now because if it wasn't there, they'd have an easy hit here to get rid of him. But yellow has 2 rocks left and red has 1. And I think he can get to those reds. The question is, will both of the
Brian's
reds
draw.
move? Brian's draw.
It's a yellow of 1.
Well, it's a red of 4 in the 7th, and that is enough for red to win.
Wow.
So that was a really nice comeback there. Red was down there, and found the right opportunity and kept going on. So exciting conclusion to that game. So now the only game on the ice is sheet C. So we'll zoom into this, and it's fascinating. So from this angle, you can see that there is a guard, a high guard, on that's protecting the reds. So they could come at them with sort of board weight, even control weight with the amount that the rocks are moving,
Yeah.
and get to those reds. I am not sure that that's what they're doing. I can't tell if they're maybe just going to draw one in there next
maybe,
to it.
Maybe
I wouldn't,
freeze to it.
I wouldn't be holding the broom there if I was going at a control weight. Maybe hack. But this is tense stuff because the game is tied. The loser is out. The winner goes on.
Yellow's got hammer, so
Yellow's hammer. They could also be trying to chip off of the yellow into the red. That's a possibility, but that's bold because you're hitting your own and you're going to lose one that way. But
Yeah.
again, it doesn't matter how many you score here. It just matters who scores that wins this one because it's a tie game.
It's like
Here it
board.
comes.
Board
Board
up.
weight might be able to come back on its own. Let's see. We're hearing
Well, it's
it's got a
gotta move a
curl.
ton.
We're pushing it. We're pushing it. It's moving though, and
Yeah,
it's
it
gonna.
is.
It's crossing the center line now, and it's real. It's like a seeing eye dog.
Wow.
It's going to go right for those reds. But
Oh.
well,
the worst thing.
everybody's groaning, but I think this is not a terrible situation
No.
for yellow because no matter where red puts a rock, yellow's going to have a chance to hit one of their yellows into that red that's
Yep.
in the shot position.
So where do you put your red rock here? Do you?
If you can get it right there, that'd be great.
No.
So
Do you even think about putting up a center line guard, or you?
No, I don't think so because they can run their yellow over as well.
That's true. They've got
They got lots of
multiple
options.
angle raises there. Yeah.
So I think you do want another one in there in the forefoot if you can at all get it. And, if you left it open, that's not an easy shot either. If it starts over curling, hits either the high guard or
No.
the rock in the 8-foot to the right there. I think if it's open, you don't go for the angle raise at that point.
Yeah.
But no shot is a gimme at this point.
That is
So,
amazing how much that last shot curled.
well, it was a nice downweight shot where
Yeah.
he really used the fact that the rocks are swinging to his advantage. That was a great shot.
I think Chris is going to do the same thing.
I think he's just drawing though, right?
Yeah, it's just, but it's taking advantage of that line there. A little heavy.
And so where is it going to sit?
It's going to bump that shot
How
back.
far though? Well, that's exactly where he
Wow.
wanted to wind up.
Really
That's
nice.
as nice as you can ask for right there. Because now if if yellow hits one of the reds but not the other,
Yeah.
I mean, if they hit right in the pocket there, nose on the back one, they would win. But how do you get there? That's pretty
Yeah.
tough. So now they're looking at the angles. Angle raises are tough. You got to get the exact right line on them. There's enough separation between those rocks. You could get some bounce. And so, right. So if the top yellow, the one he's holding his broom next to, if that gets angled into either of the others, if it noses and sticks on the top one, I don't think he's shot. If he noses the back one, he's good.
How do you like nosing the yellow?
We're discussing nosing the yellow on the that top yellow that's biting the forefoot.
But if you're ever on the outside, you just you nose in the other and it's done. So I think it's risky to aim for nose. If you're on the outside of the yellow and you're a little wide, you hit the other yellow. It's over curling though, typically. So well, this is definitely the shot though. I think you. Right. So you've got some options. So you got an A, B, and a C. Says says Jason Lee here to my right. If you're a little wide, you could chip the back yellow over. If you're right where you wanted, you can send the top one into either of the reds.
So you think we're throwing
No pressure.
control weight over on this one?
I think he's throwing about what he threw last time, so
Yeah.
maybe board. All right, here it is for all the marbles. In my last match, the rock was released right here, and it picked right away and went way off to the side. It was very unfortunate. This one is really curling like the others have. Is it going to get too far over, or is it maybe going to nose and do what Jason
wow.
thought?
This might actually.
Oh, it just nosed and then died. So it didn't quite nose, but that was a nice, exciting finish to that. The red team has won with a score of 2 in the last end, and it was anybody's game right to the end there, which is one of the things we love to see.
Tie game in the 8th end, or the 7th end in this case. It's high pressure whether or not you've got hammer or not. It's definitely
right.
harder to steal in those situations, but yeah,
Well,
hats off to red.
That was great. I'm going to
great.
sign off. I got to get on the ice
Yes.
for next match. And
Best of luck.
thanks all you listeners and watchers.
Yes, thank you guys
Hope you
for
enjoyed our
listening.
commentary.
I'll get you a drink in a minute. Okay.